Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Westphalian's webinar, Regulatory Landscape in the UK, an update. Before starting the webinar, just a couple of things to take into consideration. The webinar will last approximately 45 minutes. In case you have any questions, please submit them in the chat. If we have time, we will answer them at the end of the session. In case there is no time left, we will answer them at a later stage, and we'll also distribute them among the attendees. Also, we would like to tell you that we will send the presentation after the webinar. So now I would like to introduce Lydia Canovas. Lydia, please, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Be more than welcome to this new webinar about an update of the regulations in UK. So it's been several months elapsed after Brexit occurred, and we thought that it could be a good idea to share with you what are the updates and the current situation with an update as of today. Then, for those of you who don't know Westphalian, we are a consultancy company contributing to improve people's health by helping life science companies bringing medicines and medical devices to patients. And these are the words of our general manager, Nuria Romero, and our aim. This is our mission, our vision, and our values. And if you go to the next slide, please, Mireia, a few words about who we are. So we started our activity as consultancy company more than 20 years ago in year 2000, and with over 150 team members now. We have over 1,000 clients and have conducted about 5,000 projects. So we are very happy of this period of 22 years of activity in which we have opened office in Barcelona, our foundation, Madrid, Munich, and London. And if you go to the next slide, a few words about our activities are, well, after the foundation, we early started working in centralized procedures, FDA, medical devices, pharmacovigilance, the ECTD, our first XDV MPD. So it's been our journey, a long trip in which we have been adding more services and more knowledge to our organization. Then one of our last additions is the office in London, in which we are providing services to companies acting in this new regulatory region. For this session today, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Mireia Roig. Mireia Roig is a Senior Regulatory Affairs Officer at Westphalian. Mireia has a degree in pharmacy and a master in pharmaceutical industry. She is working in regulatory affairs over 7 years now, always in positions of responsibility in the management of European procedures of medicinal products, including national, decentralized, mutual recognition, and centralized, always in direct contact with health authorities. She has also expertise in medical devices and food supplements. After Brexit occurred, she started working in projects related to registration in United Kingdom using the new procedures, and is working for clients in direct contact with the MHRA. That's why she will be the main presenter today. So in today's webinar, she will give you insights into the medicines regulation in the UK, as well as go through the regulatory requirements and procedures to gain or maintain UK market access, such as the main marketing authorization types, submission portals, the complexities of Northern Ireland Protocol, pharmacovigilance, among others. And then I do not extend more, and I give the floor to Mireia. Mireia, please.
Okay, so hello everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. As already introduced by Lydia, my name is Mireia Roig, and today I will review the regulatory requirements for UK marketing authorizations. So here we have a summary of what we will be talking today. We will start with a brief introduction and generalities. Then we will explain what the Northern Ireland Protocol is and its consequences. On the third place, we will list the new UK marketing authorization routes. And then some considerations for existing marketing authorizations, flexibilities for medicine supply for Northern Ireland, and finally, other dossier requirements in the UK. So as you all know, the UK left the European Union on January 2021. This means that the UK is no longer regulated by European laws, but it is under the supervision of the MHRA. With this change, the MHRA published this collection of guidelines, which include all the guidance applicable to the UK. This collection is continuously updated, so it is very important to always make reference to it. One thing that I would like to point out here is that we should not be confused by the date of revision of the collection. As you can see, it now states March 2021, but it is not the date of revision of each guideline. And in fact, the last guideline was updated on July 2022. So again, it is very important to always make reference to these guidelines. So to understand the UK legislation, it is important to note that there is a differentiation in territories in the UK. A distinction is made between UK-wide when we are referring to Northern Ireland plus Great Britain, and then we can talk about UK Northern Ireland or UK Great Britain. And this is because of the Northern Ireland Protocol that we will explain later on. So we can start now reviewing the requirements applicable to the UK. Marketing authorization holder for UK marketing authorization has to be established in UK or in Europe. But there are two exceptions. The first exception is the unfettered procedure. If we follow this procedure, the holder must be established in Northern Ireland. And the second exception is the centralized procedure, where the marketing authorization holder must be established in Europe or in Northern Ireland, but it cannot be established in Great Britain. I would like also to note that thanks to the flexibilities with Europe, if we have UK Northern Ireland within a DCP, the holder can be established in Europe or in the UK, including both Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And this is contrary of what was initially established by the authorities. With regards to the representatives, a QPPV is needed for a UK marketing authorization, and it can be established in UK or in Europe. In the case we decide to have a European QPPV, then we have to nominate a national contact person for pharmacovigilance. And this person needs to be established in UK. And we have to nominate it to the MHRA. All the submissions for UK marketing authorizations have to be done through the new MHRA submissions portal, except for Northern Ireland within European procedures, in which case the CESP is still applicable. The MHRA submissions portal can be used to make submissions, but there are also other functionalities, such as PL number generation, the submission of details of the national contact person for pharmacovigilance, PIP submissions, etc. Okay, so now we will focus on the Northern Ireland Protocol. The Northern Ireland Protocol is an agreement between the UK and the European Union, and established that the Northern Ireland continues to follow European regulations. Therefore, the legislation in UK depends on each territory. Northern Ireland is regulated by the MHRA, but it can be included in European procedures. Since it follows European legislation, the serialization is mandatory, and a batch releaser established in Northern Ireland is recognized for European procedures. On the other side, Great Britain follows exclusively UK regulations. Therefore, it is again regulated by the MHRA, but it cannot be included in European procedures. In this case, the serialization is not mandatory but optional, and a batch releaser established in Great Britain will not be recognized for European procedures, with the exception of Northern Ireland within European procedures. So again, the legislation in UK will depend on each territory. This Northern Ireland protocol results in a change in the marketing authorization types. Here there is the situation before Brexit, and on the right side we have the situation, the current situation. So the current situation is that a centralized procedure will authorize the product in Northern Ireland, but not in Great Britain. An MRP or DCP can include Northern Ireland as a concerned member state, but it cannot include UK-wide or Great Britain. In addition, Northern Ireland cannot be used as a reference member state. And finally, the national applications can be applied for UK-wide or to Northern Ireland or Great Britain only. And how can we differentiate these types of applications in the market in the UK? So in order to differentiate the different marketing authorizations in the UK, we can do so by checking the national marketing authorization UK-wide, while those starting by PLGB or PLNI are restricted to Great Britain or to Northern Ireland. Okay, so now that we have seen this general overview, we can now review what are the new routes that can be followed to register a national marketing authorization in the UK. We have national routes which can be applied for UK-wide or for Great Britain or Northern Ireland only. Then we have Reliance procedures that are made on the basis of an already approved marketing authorization. And finally, other collaborative paths at international level. We will now review them one by one. So within the national routes, we have the innovative licensing and access pathway, which is commonly referred as ILAP. This is a new route that aims to reduce the time to market for innovative medicines. For this, information is shared with the MHRA at early stages of development. The first step in the ILAP is the Innovation Passport application that can be granted if a number of conditions are met. It is important to note that the ILAP does not replace the early access to medicines scheme, which for those who do not know this is the access to medicines that do not yet have a marketing authorization, but there is a clear unmet medical need. So actually applicants can apply for both procedures at the same time. And okay, so ILAP, since it launched, 120 applications have already been submitted, and only 10 have been rejected. The top therapeutic areas for the ILAP are currently oncology, neurology, and respiratory. And the applications are for new but also established medicinal products in common and rare diseases. These applications are made from early stages of development, but also to very late stages of the development. Another route is the national procedure with an accelerated review of only 150 days. This option is available for both new and existing active substance and for good quality marketing authorization applications. We obviously assume that everyone will be submitting good quality marketing authorization applications, so it is in fact the common national procedure in the UK. And the rolling review. This route can only be used for new active substance or biosimilar products, and it consists on submitting the ECTD in separate parts for pre-assessment. Each assessment cycle will offer the applicant the opportunity to update the modules before the final submission. And as an example, the COVID-19 vaccines underwent a rolling review. Then we have the Reliance procedures, and they rely upon an already approved marketing authorizations and are procedures of only 67 days. So if we have a product authorized in a DCP procedure, we can use the MRDC Reliance procedure in order to obtain a UK-wide or Great Britain-only marketing authorization. But attention to one fact, because we cannot apply for a UK Northern Ireland following this route. And why? Well, it is because if we have a DCP and want to include Northern Ireland within this marketing authorization, we will need to include Northern Ireland as a concerned member state in the DCP, therefore following a repeated use procedure and not a Reliance procedure. So again, the Reliance procedure is applicable to UK-wide or UK Great Britain marketing authorizations. And then there is the EC Decision Reliance procedure, which is available to marketing authorizations approved via the centralized procedure. And it is aimed at obtaining the marketing authorization in Great Britain also. This procedure is aimed at obtaining the market authorization in Great Britain only because the Northern Ireland, as we have already seen, is already included within the centralized procedure. So the intended operation in this procedure is that submissions to the MHRA are done immediately on receipt of a positive opinion from the CHMP. But actually, application can also be submitted anytime after the approval of a centralized procedure. It is important to note that this route is in principle available only until January 2023. But unofficially, the MHRA has informed about the possible extension of this deadline, but this has not been yet confirmed. So the take-home message here is that since theoretically it will not be possible to use this Reliance procedure after January 2023, all centrally authorized products registered after that date, in order to be registered in Great Britain also, will need to do so by following a national procedure of 150 days or through a Reliance procedure or a ILAP procedure, if applicable. But again, we would expect and we are hoping that the MHRA will extend this deadline. We will see. The unfettered access from Northern Ireland is applicable to marketing authorizations approved in Northern Ireland, for which a marketing authorization in Great Britain is requested. Also, in this case, the marketing authorization is granted in only 67 days. But it is important to note that to follow this procedure, some eligibility criteria has to be met, and this can be a limitation because the holder must be established in Northern Ireland. And second, the relevant product must be a qualifying Northern Ireland good, meaning that it is in free circulation in Northern Ireland. Finally, there are two international routes. There is the Access Consortium, which is a work-sharing initiative between Australia, Canada, Singapore, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. And applications are submitted to two or more of these agencies. The dossier, as the European one, is divided in modules. Module 1 will be reviewed by each agency nationally, but for the rest of the modules, each agency will be responsible for a different topic. So here, as an example, the United Kingdom would review the quality part, while Switzerland will review the non-clinical part, and Canada the clinical part. But again, this is an example and will depend on each procedure. And on the other hand, we have the project Orbis, which is applicable to innovative first authorizations or indication extensions for oncology products, with the aim to enable faster patient access to innovative cancer therapies across different countries. It is coordinated by the FDA and involves the authorities of Australia, Brazil, Canada, Israel, Singapore, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. Okay, so we have now reviewed the new marketing authorization routes, but the situation for many of you is that the marketing authorization in UK was already approved before January 2021. And what has happened to these marketing authorizations? So for those who had a DCP, including UK before Brexit, there are now different situations, and the following has to be considered for the life cycle management. The option one that we can have is if actions were not taken on January 2021, we'll now have a DCP, including UK Northern Ireland, and a national procedure in Great Britain aligned to this DCP, but not part of the DCP. So in this case, the dossier is common, and any variation must be submitted through the DCP. If approved, the decision applies UK-wide, unless the MHRA notifies the holder within 30 days. The variations are submitted through CESP only, and it is not needed to submit twice through the MHRA submissions portal. The second option that we can have is to have two separate marketing authorizations, Northern Ireland as a concerned member state within the DCP, and Great Britain as an independent national marketing authorization. Therefore, two separate dossiers. In this case, variations are managed separately, but for type 1B or type 2 variations, if evidence of European approval is provided within the Great Britain variation package, the MHRA will take this into consideration and they will apply also a lower fee. In this case, the submission is performed through CESP for the DCP and through the MHRA portal for the national in Great Britain. And the third option that we can have is that the holder opts to remove Northern Ireland from the DCP and to maintain a UK-wide national marketing authorization. Also, in this case, the dossiers are independent the one from the other. Therefore, variations are managed separately. On the one hand, for the DCP through CESP, and on the other hand, for the national procedure through the MHRA submissions portal. Since Northern Ireland is not part of the DCP in this case, this means that the MHRA would not have reviewed the variation beforehand, and therefore the reduction in assessment and fees for type 1B and type 2 variations will not be applicable here. The MHRA has given holders also the option to change the territory applicable to their already approved marketing authorizations. So in example, to change from a PL to a PLGB or a PLNI, or the other way around. This is called splitting procedure or also territory change. And the actions needed will depend on each specific case. So in example, in the case we have a PLGB or a PLNI, and now we want to convert to a UK-wide marketing authorization, maybe for marketing purposes, it will now be possible. For this, we will generate a new PL number, and a new sequence with updated product information will be required. If instead we have a UK-wide marketing authorization, we can also restrict the marketing authorization to Northern Ireland or to Great Britain only. And the procedure to be followed here is slightly different, but we won't go in detail today because we do not have time. To add some more complexity to this situation, we have other systems of access, in this case, in order to ensure the supply of medicines in Northern Ireland. So first, in the very rare situation in which Great Britain approves a centralized procedure, a centrally authorized procedure, the MHRA will allow the supply of this product in Northern Ireland. And why this? So obviously to make sure that the patients in Northern Ireland can have access to the medicines at the same time of the rest of the UK. This situation will last until the Europe accepts or refuses the marketing authorization. Actually, we think that this situation might be more likely to happen when the easy reliance procedure will not be more available. Because until then, Great Britain will commonly approve after the centrally authorized product via the Reliance route. And for the same purpose, this is to ensure the supply in Northern Ireland, the MHRA has also created the NIMA route. This route permits the supply in Northern Ireland for products that are covering a gap for a certain therapy. In order to verify if our products can be supplied via the NIMA route, we have to check the NIMA list, which is available on the MHRA website. This list will be regularly checked and updated by the MHRA, but the holder will not be able to apply for his medicine to be included in the NIMA list. To follow this route, it is not necessary to submit any application, but it will be the responsibility of the distributor to check if the product is present in the NIMA list. They will be able to supply also to Northern Ireland with only a Great Britain application. And to conclude with this presentation, I would like to review some other requirements specific from the UK. We will now see the requirements for reference medicinal products, UK PSMF, UK PIP, and orphan drug designation. So what happens if my product is a generic? We have different situations with regards to the reference medicinal product. The acceptance of a reference medicinal product will depend on whether the marketing authorization application is restricted to Great Britain or if it is a UK-wide or UK Northern Ireland application. For applications in Great Britain only, the reference medicinal product must be a product approved for at least 8 years in the UK, including national marketing authorizations in Great Britain that were approved in January 2021 by conversion of a centrally authorized product. or it can be a product approved by centralized procedure before the 1st of January 2021, but not converted to Great Britain marketing authorization as the holder opt out of that process. But for UK Northern Ireland or UK-wide marketing authorization applications, we have more flexibilities. And this is thanks to the Northern Ireland Protocol. In this case, the reference medicinal product can be a product approved for at least 8 years in the UK or in Europe, including national procedures, MRP or DCPs, and centrally authorized products. So, as a conclusion, if we apply for a UK-wide or UK Northern Ireland marketing authorization, a European reference medicinal product will be accepted. But it will not be valid for an application for Great Britain only, with the exception of centrally authorized products that are actually approved in Northern Ireland as well. Also, this presentation does not cover European marketing authorization applications. I would like to point out that a UK reference medicinal product will not be accepted for European procedures. Another requirement for UK marketing authorization is the UK PSMF. For all UK national marketing authorizations, including those that cover the whole of the UK or that are specific for Northern Ireland or Great Britain, the holder must have a UK PSMF that has to be electronically accessible from the UK. The format and content of the UK PSMF remains the same as the European one, and a unique UK PSMF number needs to be requested via the MHRA submissions portal. Then there is the UK PIP. We assume that everyone in the audience is familiar with this concept of pediatric investigation plan, or PIP. A PIP is necessary in some cases before the submission of a marketing authorization application in Europe. So after Brexit, the MHRA has copied this system, and a UK PIP is also required for UK marketing authorizations. The UK PIP has the same format and content of the European PIP, and the MHRA expects that the applicant informs about an already approved or ongoing European PIP, in which case then they can offer an expedited assessment. In this situation, we can expect that the PIP opinion will be harmonized in both territories. Those European PIPs agreed before the 1st of January 2021 have been adopted as UK PIPs, and its reassessment or resubmission is not required. New PIPs have to be submitted through the dedicated PIP portal in the MHRA submissions portal. And as a last topic, we like to also refer to the orphan drug designation. As you know, in the European Union, the ODD is requested normally during the early development of the medicine, therefore well in advance of the submission of the marketing authorization application. However, for UK, the situation is totally different since the ODD is requested simultaneously at the time of submission of the market authorization application. If an European ODD already exists, the holder can only apply for a Great Britain only marketing authorization ODD. If no European ODD exists, the holder can apply for a UK-wide ODD. So a UK-wide ODD can only be considered in the absence of an active European orphan designation. In addition, if a UK-wide orphan marketing authorization is granted and a medicinal product subsequently receives a European orphan designation, the holder will need to submit a variation to change this to Great Britain ODD. And this is my slide for today. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that you enjoyed this part of the webinar.